Hi.
Hi there.
Today we're talking about
February 10th.
February 10th, right? And we are and were in Rotorua, which is an interesting town. We'll talk more about the history of it later on, I think.
Circle of Fire, geothermal area.
Right. So we got up in the morning, we had breakfast, and we drove to an area called Murupara. And Murupara is notable in that it has fallen into economic decay. And so it's been a scene of a lot of crime, gang violence, and really been suffering through the economy lately.
And it's Maori.
Yeah, it's a Maori community. And it's right in the middle of this huge forest, and I can't remember if we mentioned it the last time. The forest itself is something like 1,200 square miles, and it's all pretty much monoculture of Monterey pines and Douglas fir.
Yeah. And they raise them. They say in the U.S. it takes how many years to raise it?
50 to 75
years. And they raise them in 25 years in the volcanic soil here. So it's a huge export, billion-dollar business. And
there used to be a lot of jobs for the locals doing forestry, but they've mechanized it, and so that's part of the economic depression. The other thing is that this town of Rotorua used to be a great spa town in the mid to late 1800s, and then that ended with a volcanic eruption. So we can come back, but we went out to.
Oh, well, there was something else I was going to say about the forest. Is that land used to belong to the Maori that were in that town, and so they've actually put forward a lawsuit, and they have gotten 80,000 hectares. I don't know how much that is. It's not near as much as the forest itself, but those are supposed to revert to them in 1840. So after this next planting is harvested.
Right, that's a good point. Yeah, so we were welcomed into Murupara by a young lady who was very articulate, and then we drove out to an ecological lodge, and on the way, or cultural ecological lodge, I guess. On the way, we stopped at this lake that was formed by an impoundment. And there we learned that this tribe of Maori, this community of Maori, were known as the eel people because their main food source historically had been these huge eels that get up to 6 foot or longer, even longer than the ones that we had seen up north. And the problem was that when they built these dams, they didn't build any way for the eels to migrate up the river and get past the dams. And so now their whole cultural heritage is, as far as food and their relationship to the eels, is being threatened. And so they have to go downstream and try to catch these elvers, the juvenile eels, and then transport them in tubs by car and release them further up, which is a really labor-intensive and inefficient way to do it.
Well, and they have to capture the eels going the other way, going out to sea to migrate and get them over the dam.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. You're so smart. Anyways, then we went to this Kohutapu Lodge, and we had two main agendas there. It's run by this Maori group, and the first was to have hangi, which is the underground cooked meal, kind of like the lovo that we had in Fiji and Luau and in Hawaii. And do you want to talk about that?
No, it was just the same, all the same food, which is good, but yeah, it was fine.
Right. Yeah. We'll show you a couple pictures of it.
Alright, everybody, I'm going to get you guys to come around to me, please. Welcome over to our hangi pit.
And then we had a
They did a haka dance, which is Maori. It's and I think you saw it in the other day too when we were at the Waitangi Treaty Grounds. The two women did a haka for us, and that was interesting too.
There's a lie that will shake, it will move. From our waterways, to our trees, to the buds, to the leaves, to us. We will shake. Okay? Then we also have what we call the takahi, which is the stamping of the foot. I'm not keeping in time with myself necessarily, but it does help. What I'm doing, it's a form of grounding. Connecting to Papa Tuanuku, mother. You guys will also see me do the pukana, which is the bulging of the eyes and the frowning of the mouth like this. Okay? Now, you guys would have seen the male version of the pukana, which is the bulging of the eyes and the protruding of the tongue. Now, Swahili, us ladies, we never stick our tongue out. 2 reasons. It's ugly, and second of all, we never partook in cannibalism. So it's kind of like a disrespect thing. So that's why you'll never see any Maori woman, you can search it up, Maori woman doing the pukana, you will never see them with their tongue out, ever. So we always laugh when we see tourists, especially females that are like sticking their tongue out thinking that it's like a big joke. We're like, don't even talk. Don't even talk to me. I don't care on that stuff. Like, I used to bum people out all the time, when, especially the girls, when they would try and do it to me and like get a laugh out. I'm like, you know, that's actually not even that funny. Like, you just look silly. So I'll laugh at you. Nah. So, ladies, if you want to try and make the face, it's kind of, so you probably already made the face, you just don't know it. But it's kind of, so when your husband or your kids or your grandkids have done something naughty, you know, and you kind of give them that look or like this.
I know that look.
Yeah, yeah, it's at the, cut it out, you stop it, you know, so it's that look. So, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
I'm coming. She's coming.
Oh, good.
You ready?
I like to jump in.
I think one of the things that impressed me about the haka presentation was they presented it, they did a kind of a traditional haka dance, and they had the traditional words, but they also pointed out that the haka is a living ceremony. And by that I mean they make up new dances and they make up new songs. So they gave the translation of the old one, and then they showed us a competition that they'd been in. And it reminded me a lot of rap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of rap. It was very interesting that way. And then we came back and we went to the Polynesian Spa. The Polynesian Spa was a series of hot baths because this is a geothermal area. It has historically been a spa resort, and this Polynesian spas had acid baths of different temperatures and alkaline baths of different temperatures. You want to say anything about it?
No.
No?
No, I think we're getting short on time.
We're getting short on
be on the
time?
bus.
Oh, okay.
So,
I just want to say, boy, did it do a job on peeling off that dead skin. Anyways, finally we went to the Pig and Whistle for dinner. The Pig and Whistle is so named because it's in the old jail. And so you have the pigs and the whistles, right? And we learned something new from a guide yesterday, and that's that the builders of it were
the Alcatraz Company.
the Alcatraz Construction. Yeah. So that's it. We'll try to put some pictures together. We have to hurry because we need to go to the airport to go to Christchurch. So,
Bye.
bye.
Love.